Tobes. Oh.
So you went outside.
You can tell there's a real bond there between you guys.
No, I literally love him down.
Yeah.
To say I feel sorry for Toby is an understatement. To say I feel sorry and angry for Kaz is an understatement. Because Toby, I feel sorry because his best friend has left. And for Kaz, the producers did a great injustice in the sense that they brought her on the show knowing for a fact that they would never bring in anyone that liked somebody that looked like her, and kept her on the show for as long as they could until it was towards the end of the show. Then they kicked her off because they kept bringing people that liked other islanders, in particular Molly, and never brought anyone that would like someone like Kaz. So I feel some type of way about that. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island UK All Stars Season 1, Episode 20 and 21. So the Islanders start off with a game, and as usual, the producers are going to make them kiss. And it's like, can we have a game that doesn't just involve kissing? Can we have a game whereby they're saying things and not just being messy by swapping saliva? And what I've noticed a trend whereby when it's these kissing games, people just pick either the people they have beef with or people that they've wanted to kiss but couldn't kiss because they're in a couple with someone. So they cop out and they kiss that person during the challenge. I think Josh was wrong for kissing Georgia S and saying she's there for the followers. I think everybody in that group is there for the followers. Georgia H is there for the followers because otherwise she would not be entertaining Anton. You can say the same about Arabella, you can say the same about Kaz, you can say the same about Molly. So for him to pick her, I think he was just being petty because of his friendship with Callum. And I think the boys have sort of eaten up Callum's whatever he's dished out to them and have developed this sort of hatred for Georgia S and the way she treated him. I didn't like that. And you could see Callum still feel some type of way even though he said he's moved on from Georgia S, because when Toby was asked to kiss someone who he can see something working out on the outside with, he kissed Georgia S and she kissed Toby because she said, she could see herself introducing him to her family. And it's like, why are you bothered? Why are you making so much faces? Why do you look aggrieved when you say you're not interested in the girl? Keep it moving, move on and find your next conquest. There are so many girls in the villa. Just make an effort with somebody else who you think is genuine. And so I like the fact that Anton wasn't given a kissing challenge. Instead, he was asked to nominate people to kiss each other. And it's like, wow, the producers are being petty. The Casey obviously went and sort of aimed for one of the twins because, he's in a friendship couple with Kaz at the moment. And so I like the fact that when Toby... One thing I have to big up, one thing I have to praise is the friendship between Toby and Kaz this season. I love that friendship. I don't think any sort of relationship in the villa is stronger than that because of the way they're able to be there and support one another and lift each other up during difficult times. So the fact that Kaz was trying to sort of, even though Toby was upset about Josh's comment in regards Georgia S, she was able to sort of help him rationalize and sort of come up with an idea of how to deal with that. Because I think left to his own vices, Toby was going to go and confront Josh, and then it would get, it would be more of a big deal than it actually is. So the fact that Kaz was able to sort of calm him down and tell him that he doesn't need this mess, he doesn't need to involve himself in anything to do with Josh in regards the Georgia S situation. So that was good to say. That's a true friendship. Am I the only one? I don't get it anyway. So you have the new boy sort of pull Molly for a chat, he pulled Sophie for a chat, and for me, I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand why people would come into the villa and go for people that are in more or less stable couples and leave those that are in couples whereby there's still a lot of doubt, or leave those that are not in couples at all. So it makes me question, is he doing it because he's interested in the girls, or is he doing it just because he's looking for attention in the storyline, or maybe the producers, that's who they've told him to pursue. And so I don't know. I don't think he's got any chance of turning both girls' heads because though Sophie said she's still open, she said, but she's got a good thing going with Josh. And so when she spoke to Josh, Josh is now in his feelings. He's saying he's going to take a step back. And it's like, you're taking a step back to where? Because you've shut things down with Joanna. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? And so it was interesting as well to hear Sophie and one of the twins sort of speak to Josh and sort of say, do you know whether Casey is interested in pursuing Joanna or whether he's open? And it's like, as far as I'm concerned, everybody in the villa is open. I don't think anyone is in any couple that can be considered to be stable. No one has shown that they're 100% into their partner, and so they're not interested in anybody else. So I don't know. We'll see. Josh obviously had a conversation with Toby and Georgia S. and well, Kaz was just sitting there because she's very close friends with Toby, and he was sort of trying to explain why he chose Georgia S. Georgia S, I think, yes, her feelings were hurt, but still, at the same time, given how she's moved around the villa, he was right to pick her. He was right to pick her. I think he picked her for malicious intent, but I think he was also right. I think he did it because he's friends with Callum, but at the same time, Georgia has not been faithful and she's not been loyal in how she's moved in the villa. Anyway, all the islanders get ready for bed and everybody seems in a great mood. So in the morning, the islanders have a debrief, and more or less it's the 3 bombshells that have walked in, and people are sort of trying to see who has a connection with them or who's likely to feel something for them. You have Callum saying he was coupled up with Evie for 4 days, so you know he's single, so he's ready to mingle more or less, and they're sort of encouraging him that you need to sort of make an effort to see if you can connect with one of the twins. The twins are more or less interested in Casey, and it's like, I don't think Casey, anytime he goes on, you know, Love Island, is looking for love. I think he's looking for a holiday. That's what he did on his season, and I think this is what he's going to do on the season as well, in the sense that he's going to lead a couple of girls on and then at the end still leave single. That's the impression that I get. I think he has commitment issues. You have, you know, the new guy saying he is interested in Molly and in Sophie, and although they both seem to be in very strong couples, and this is what I said, that I don't know why he's pursuing them because they seem happy in their couples. So after the debrief, obviously Arabella is really interested in the new guy and she wants to see if they can give it a go. Apparently she's previously flirted with him, and it's like, oh my god, do people as soon as they leave Love Island start, you know, flirting with the people that have been on previous seasons or what? Make it make sense. Josh obviously explained that he was upset because Sophie didn't immediately shut things down when she was pulled for a chat, and it's like, oh my god, someone can't just pull her for a chat and she says, oh okay, no, that's it. At least give him one chance and then the next time you can make a decision. So Josh is in his feelings because he feels Sophia should have closed things off as soon as the new bombshell called her for a chat, but she didn't, so he's feeling some type of way, and it's like, oh my god, you're not yet married, you're not closed off, the two of you are just focused on one another, so make it make sense. Anyway, after the debrief, you have Sophie sort of pull the guy, the bombshell, I need to remember his name, for a chat, and she sort of tells him that, you know, at the moment she just wants to focus on Josh and nobody else, so she sort of shuts him down, and you can see that he's a bit disappointed, but he understands she's in a strong couple, so what's the point of sort of rocking the boat when things seem to be going great? And it's like, oh okay. Arabella is encouraged to pull him for a chat. She pulls him for a chat, and it's like, I don't think in the villa Arabella will find what she's looking for. I don't think so. She can stay for viewers and for followers, but I don't think she'll find what she's looking for. I think her history with Chris has put a lot of the guys off, and the way she reacted to Toby has put a lot of the guys off. I don't know whether anyone would be willing to sort of attempt to see if they can start anything with her as of now. It's interesting that now other bombshells have come in, people are starting to close off. So you have Sophie have a conversation with Josh, and she tells him that, you know, she's closed things off with Joe. She's told him she's not interested and she really wants to focus on her connection with Josh because there's no way, even if it was just if she were to start a connection with Joe, there's no way it would catch up to what she has with Josh. That makes sense. Josh, as soon as he came in, wanted to sort of mess about with Georgia, and since then has stayed with Sophie. So it makes sense that the two of them would want to stay together, and they have been romantic, so it makes sense. Anton, however, doesn't make sense. He does not make sense. The idea that he would pull Georgia H and tell her that he wants to be closed off, he's not going to tell it, he's not going to entertain anyone else, he's going to tell the bombshells that he's not available. And it's like, did they even show any interest in your direction? You're just telling them, but they're not interested. So why are you wasting your energy? Why are you talking about being closed off when there's no one else who's interested in you? I don't get it. But anyway, I don't know. Anyway, Joe then receives a message to say there'll be a recoupling and he and the twins will get to pick first. And it's like, oh my God, I'm worried for my girl Cass. What's going to happen now? So while the boys are getting ready, you have Tom sitting there. He's very stressed. I think because he thinks that Joe is going to pick Molly. I don't get it. I don't get how all the guys that come into the villa are all focused on Molly. What is it? Are the producers asking, is Molly your type? And if somebody says yes, then they send them in. Because it doesn't make sense why all the other girls are not getting the same attention. And so the boys are trying to suss out who Joe is going to pick. And he's saying, we're still going to be friends after the recoupling. Let's just wait until the recoupling. Tom is stressed that Molly's going. All the other guys are sort of, well, you have Chris sort of saying to himself, he thinks that, Joe is unlikely maybe to pick Joanna. And it's like, I don't think so. It's going to be interesting to see who he picks. The islanders come out, pick their drinks, and are asked to gather around the fire pit for recoupling. And it's very, I don't know what to say. It's very sad that Kaz is in this vulnerable position. The producers really just brought her in just to have a token, black person in the villa, as far as I'm concerned, because it doesn't make sense why they've never brought in anyone that likes her outside of her ex. So the three bombshells get to pick, and Joe, I think Joe didn't want to step on people's feet. This is why he picked Arabella, because it doesn't make sense, because Molly looked very nervous. She looked like she didn't want him to pick her, and she was worried that he was going to pick her. So in my opinion, I think he just wanted peace, and that's why he chose Arabella, because otherwise their conversations didn't give me the idea that they were going to pick each other. The twins, one of them picked Callum. I think she's the one who was with Callum before on their season. I don't know then. I know there's an Eve and I know there's a Jess. So I know one of them picked Callum, the other one picked Casey. What do I think? I think the one that picked Callum has a better shot than the one that picked Casey. Just because we all know Casey. Casey, the love of his life is Tom. Everybody else is second place, and he's quick to switch them as and when he needs to. But hey, it is what it is. So next up is Tom. Tom picks Molly. Am I surprised? No. I was just, I just had rolled my eyes when he said, oh, I see her getting along with my family. I see this. And I thought, this is the same thing he said about his ex from his season. So it seems his family gets along with everyone. Callum seemed to eat whatever, Tom was dishing out for Molly. He had this smile on his face as though he was so happy for the two of them. Hey, if they're happy, hey, whoopity-doo. You had Anton stand up. And the fact that he said he sees himself closing things off with Molly, I don't know, maybe he should have had that conversation with Molly before he stood up. That's just my opinion. Next up was Anton. Anton more or less wanted to say he's closed off as well. The fact that he said, oh, from my first chat, Anton is visualizing this coupling with Georgia H that the rest of us are not seeing. I hope we get to see it, but I am not seeing that coupling up, because there doesn't seem to be that connection that he's talking about that we see, unless it's the edits. But hey, Toby stood up. He spoke about, Georgia S and the fact that they keep gravitating to one another, and he really likes her. He's got her back, blah, blah, blah. And so for Callum to look mad at that, it's like, Callum, move on, please. You're more upset about Georgia S dumping you than you are about Molly. Make that make sense. Make that make sense? Josh picks Sophie. Am I surprised? No. Chris picks Joanna. I don't think she feels him as much as he thinks she does. I think he would have been better off with Kaz, because they could have ridden that friendship couple all the way to the very end. So, I don't know. So, this leaves Kaz single. This is what the producers wanted, because they have never sent in anyone that likes her, so in a romantic sense. So, it is what it is. I'm going to repeat, I don't think there's any relationship in the villa that will ever be stronger than Toby and Kaz's relationship, because their friendship has grown from the time Toby held her down when, Tyler was messing about with Hannah, and then when Kaz held Toby down when there was the fallout about the Georgia S situation. And so to see him, as soon as she reads the message that she's going home, to see him start crying and have to be consoled by Chris was sad. And then when she took her bag and she was about to leave, she noticed him. He was staying in the back. I think he didn't want her to see him cry. And to see him that emotional, oh my God, my heart broke for Toby. And I really hope I have a friendship that the two of them have. Sorry, I was crying because it was just too emotional. And so I wish Kaz all the best. I think Love Island All Stars has done her a great injustice, in the sense that she's refused to give them the drama that they expected. I think they would have wanted to edit her the same way they edited Catherine, the same way they edited other sort of females of her color. But because she didn't give them that, I think this is why they didn't give her a guy. And I'm happy that she left with her head held high, and that you could see that everyone had a lot of love, adoration for her, and a lot of respect. And I know her friend Toby will be waiting to greet her and see her. And I love their friendship. And you could see the girls were actually surprised to see Toby crying. I don't think they expected him to do that. And I don't think any of the guys will cry for a friendship with one of the Villa girls as much as Toby has cried for her. And so, I don't know. I wish, now it's up to Chris to sort of hold Toby down, because it seems everybody else has decided to abandon him, which is sad. It's interesting that given the fact that Tom has been coupled up with Molly since he walked into the villa, he doesn't know that Molly and Kaz were very close. Make that make sense? So what is he doing then? What is he looking at when, if he has to confirm with us, I guess so you and Kaz were very close friends. Well, if you watched, you would see that all the time they were always there next to each other. So I don't get why you're suddenly surprised. Obviously he's happy in his couple. I think Molly, I think Molly, she'll have to settle for Tom, because I think she's realized that there's no going back to Callum, so she's going to be content with that. For Georgia S to pull Callum for a chat and still try to sort of rehash things and reassure him that she had feelings for him when they were in the hideaway doesn't make sense to me. Callum looks like he's moved on. Callum is heartbroken that Georgia S played him, but it is what it is. That's the Love Island game. And then you have Josh and Sophie. They're in cloud nine. They're happy. I would have thought Sophie would be upset that her friend Kaz has gone, but she seems to be dealing with it a lot better than the way Toby's dealing with it, which is I guess. And then you have Joanna go for a chat with Arabella, of all people, to discuss her connection with Chris. I don't think that's the right thing, because we all know that there's bad blood between Arabella and Chris. So the idea that Joanna would want to discuss this, I think she decided to look for someone who would validate whatever she was feeling. For her to use the excuse that, at the recoupling, she didn't like the jokes and sarcastic humor that Chris had. It's like, this is who Chris is. This is how he's presented himself from the day he walked into the villa. So for you to pretend to be shocked doesn't make sense. Just say you really didn't feel him that way, and you only sort of paid him attention because you wanted to stay in the villa and stay in a couple with somebody. That's it, and nothing new. So you have the islanders sort of discussing their couples and sort of seeing where they go, for what they do next, because they've all recoupled. And I think the only people that have changed partners is Casey. That's the only person I think who's changed partners. And Arabella obviously was in a friendship couple, and Callum as well was in a friendship couple with Arabella. So to see him have a conversation with the twins, apparently he's coupled up with the twin, not the one you're coupled up with on his season, but the other one. So I don't know. I think she just chose him just because it would make life easier. And I think the twin that coupled up with Casey, they must have had a conversation and one of them must have won, and that's why they got to pick whoever they wanted to pick. So she's happy to be coupled up with Casey. Casey says he's happy to be coupled up with her. Well, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. And it's sad that Chris, when he tried to sort of have any contact with Joanna, she sort of shut him down. I think Joanna only wanted Chris until she found a connection with somebody else. And because this show is about to come to an end, I don't know why she just didn't continue with Chris. I think Chris has given her the ick, as she said. And I've always said this, that Chris has a habit of giving girls the ick and he doesn't realize this. And it's a pity that no one has actually sat him down and told him. It was sad to see the two of them, you know, Chris and Toby, sit down and just have a conversation about where they stand and the fact that now that Kaz is gone, it's just the two of them. And, you know, when the villa's against them, it's just the two of them and they have to continue to hold each other up. The islanders get ready for bed and everybody goes to sleep. And obviously, before they went to sleep, Arabella was on the terrace with Joe and she kissed him. And it's like, oh my God, is she that desperate to keep him? Or is it just because she's attracted to him? I don't know. So they kissed, and in bed they did make out because she's still panicking. She doesn't understand why he chose her, and he's just saying, well, I was going to choose you. Why wouldn't you think I'd choose you? And it's like, I think he likes the publicity that comes with Arabella and the fact that she was involved in a lot of drama, so he knows she's going to discuss him. Casey, I was surprised that he immediately pulled the covers and was making out with one of the twins. I think her name is Eve or Jess. I don't know which one of the twins he was making out with, and it's like, wow. Hey, it is what it is. So in the morning, there is another debrief, and it's like, seriously, apart from the new couples, why do we even bother with debriefs? Apart from, you know, well, everybody's happy in their couple. They're all saying they're in romantic couples, and it's like, please keep quiet. Please, who do you think you're pandering to? You have, you know, Arabella is ecstatic that she kissed Joe in bed, and Casey also kissed his partner, one of the twins, and so they seem to be in a good space. And it's like, oh God, what's new? It's interesting that Toby had his debrief with Georgia S and none of the other guys. And it's like, what's going on? Is he feeling low in mood? Does he just not get along with the guys? I would feel some type of way if I were Toby, given how the boys reacted when he recoupled with Georgia S. So I understand if he chose to sort of isolate himself. And after the debrief, you have Anton arrange this picnic for Georgia H. And it's like, seriously, if delusion was a person, Anton would be it. If delusion was a person, Anton would be it. Because I don't get what he doesn't understand. Georgia S is just with him just because all the guys she liked have turned her down and he's her only option. And that's why she's agreed to be in a couple with him. And she's going to push this for as long as she can so that she can last in the villa and she can get some publicity after she leaves the villa. Otherwise, I don't think romantically she's there with him. I think she's humoring him, but I think that's just it. And then you have Joanna telling the girls that, you know, she doesn't feel anything with Chris. She wants to move on from Chris and she's now interested in Callum. And it's like, so why didn't you tell Chris before the recoupling? Why did you allow him to believe that you really were interested in him romantically and you saw something there? Make it make sense. Don't play with somebody's feelings and then dump them at the first opportunity. I think if Chris had known, he would have rather stayed in a friendship couple with Kaz than coupled up with Joanna. But hey, it is what it is. She says she wants to pull Callum for a chat away from everyone, and then she does it in everybody's eyesight, and it's like, what is it? So, you know, I didn't quite get that conversation between Joanna and Callum. I think Callum is just humoring her. I think Callum knows that he doesn't feel anything for any of the girls left in the villa, but he wants to stay in until the very end. I don't think he romantically sees anything with Joanna, but hey, because why haven't they had any conversations before then? And I think I didn't quite see who it was, but I think Georgia S ran and told Chris that, oh, you better watch out for Joanna because she's at the mini fire pit with Callum. But hey, it is what it is. The Islanders receive a text message that Craig Davis will be performing. Given that they're all stars, I would have expected a bigger star, but then I guess they gave them one of the biggest stars the UK has had or has. And he performed. It was great. It was interesting. He sang some of his old songs, and apparently one of the other guys that came on was Arabella's ex, and it's like, oh, it is what it is. Nothing stand out there. I didn't get the performance, neither did I get why. If they're going to say they're all stars, they're going to bring them, you know, Craig Davis. So after the performance, Delusion King stands up. I don't even know what he said because I fast forward. Anton gets on my last nerve. I think he's too over-pompous. I don't like the way he behaves around the other islanders that he doesn't like. I don't like the way he behaved towards Kaz. So I'm really off him, and I didn't even bother to listen to whether he asked her to be his girlfriend or whatever. And I know she's just saying yes just to humor him. I don't see that lasting a long time, but it is what it is. And then you have the girls sit down and have a debriefing with Arabella talking about her ex being there and performing, and it's like, oh my god, let's move on. Let's not make it as deep as, you know, or make it a big deal when it's not. And then you have Chris speaking to Toby, and he's sort of having mixed feelings about the way Joanna has been moving, which I would have mixed feelings as well, because you're in a couple with him and yet you haven't spoken to him. You are speaking to everybody else. You are telling everybody else you've got the ick, but you won't tell the person who's given you the ick that you're not interested in talking to him. And I don't think Arabella was the best person. Chris was right to say that Arabella does not have my best interest at heart, because she's still got, you know, a bad taste in her mouth in regards how I treated her. So I don't know. Eventually Joanna pulls Chris for a chat and tells him that, you know, she's wanting to explore connections with other people. I think she was strategic. I don't even think she likes Callum as much. I think she just finds it sort of a bit too much to be around Chris, so that's why she's decided to try and go after Callum. Whether that will last with Callum, I don't think so. Callum really liked Georgia S, and she turned him down, so I don't think he has any sort of inclination or any feelings towards anybody else, but I could be wrong. So we'll see how that plays out. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 18 and 19. Bye guys.